Let's dive into last night a little bit in the actual play on the ice last night. Filip Hronek, he's here. He's pretty good. He led the Vancouver Canucks in ice time. Canucks went down to 5 defensemen early on in this game after Christian Wolanin was out with a lower body injury super early into that first period. So Hronek got a little bit of playing time, it felt like, with everyone. Can we have a look here, Alex, at the pairings that Filip Hronek was on last night? Because at 5-on-5, he was getting a little bit of time with everyone here. Spent 7 minutes and 58 seconds with Ethan Bear as his partner. Spent 6 minutes and 34 seconds with Quinn Hughes as his partner, and even played 4:30 with Kyle Burroughs as well. That opportunity to have multiple minutes with each of these guys, I felt like though you go down to 5 defensemen, at least like an opportunity present itself to see what Hronek looks like with all of these guys. You got a few minutes of each pairing, it felt like, really.
For sure. I also love how he seemed to, I swear he must have gone to the barber like a few hours before the game or something, because that fresh fades, that fresh skin fade haircut he had, I was like, that is crispy in the lined up beard. As somebody who loves skin fades, I was like, this man knows how to make a stylish entrance. And he showed a lot of steady two-way play. As you mentioned, started the game with Ethan Bear, and then as Wolanin went down and they had only 5 defensemen, they had to, because of the odd number of D, scramble around and use him in a variety of different spots, especially sometimes with Hughes with some offensive starts. And I thought it was a pretty strong, encouraging debut. I mean, the most encouraging thing for me, the biggest takeaway, was that I remember, based off of Hronek's early career performance, that he was labeled as this sort of dynamic offensive defenseman with defensive warts. And I remember when I watched the tape of him this season with the Red Wings, I walked away from that thinking that label's outdated. He actually seems much more like a jack of all trades, two-way defenseman who has a steady impact. Maybe isn't as dynamic or flashy as I expected, but way better defensively than I imagined. And it was good to see that evolution translate in a different environment here in Vancouver in his first game, because that stylistic fit is what the Canucks actually need, as opposed to more of an offensive guy who's inconsistent in his own end. You could see, both with the puck, without the puck, just a level of composure where he seemed to, it wasn't that he did anything special, but he checked off all the fundamentals in what you want a defenseman to do in terms of the first pass, in terms of playing a tight gap in the neutral zone, breaking up plays, always scanning and looking for threats in the offensive zone and using a stick to break up passes. He just seemed and looked like an amplifier, right? Not necessarily somebody who would single-handedly tilt a shift in his team's favor, right? The way somebody like Quinn Hughes can, where it's like he can beat 2 forecheckers, get the puck up the ice, dancing around in the offensive zone. It wasn't about that, about taking over a shift. It was more, I'm going to make the job of my teammates easier in basically every situation of the game, whether it comes to breakouts, whether it comes to the defensive side, whether it comes to making simple plays in the offensive zone. So that was kind of what stood out in that first game against San Jose.
Yeah, it felt like the most important word I think you said there was like a steadiness in the way that he played, right? Where you weren't questioning a lot of things that he was doing. I think early on in the game, there was like a couple puck touches that weren't like perfect, but he really cleaned things up as the game went on. And I was impressed. Like I had expectations for him, obviously, going into that game, and he rose above them. Like, he was better than I thought he was going to be in his first game back from injury. And especially in a spot where you have to play with 5 different defensemen